Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Silver Screen Shenanigans podcast, where we sit down, watch a movie, and give our own silly little takes. My name is Devin, and the question of the day is, what is your worst phobia?
Well, what's yours?
I guess mine, simple enough. It's the sea. Like, it's way too big, it's way too dark, and we don't know what's at the bottom of some places
Is it the
of it.
depths of the sea, or is it just the sea, period? There are some people who are just afraid of like the ocean water. There's others who are afraid of like the depths of the ocean.
Both.
Both? Oh my goodness. All right.
Hi, my name's Jacob. Mine, I would say, I'd say like I kind of agree with you guys with the ocean part, but monsters in the ocean, kind of like Cthulhu stuff. But as a kid, it was like skeletons. Like I read, was it Skeleton Creek or something like that? That had all those little videos that came with it, and like this creepy skeleton that crawled up on the ceilings and stuff. That was my fear for the longest time.
I've never heard of that.
I'll have to show you the videos. They're creepy. They're creepy.
Goodness. All right, I'm Riley. I would say my biggest fear is probably just the depths of the ocean and how unexplored it is. Like, not the animals in it, but like just the things that we don't know are in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. I would also say that, but my biggest fear is probably...
Well, who are you?
Oh, sorry. My name is Emma.
There you go.
And I have always been super afraid of getting in a car accident. I've never been in a car accident before, and not like a fender bender, but like a real bad one. I'm kind of scared of that. But yeah, when we went to Mexico, we got to swim in this cave. You couldn't see the bottom, but you could like snorkel. Had like a panic attack. It was so scary, so dark.
I'd get in my own head that there's something
Yeah,
down there that will
100%.
come
See,
to
like
me.
with pools and
100%.
stuff, it's obviously fine because I
Right.
can see the bottom. I can touch the bottom. With oceans and stuff, it's like
Yes.
something's gonna grab me. I can't
So
feel the bottom.
scary. It was super scary.
Like I feel like coral reefs are fine for me, you know? Like I can see the bottom, but when it hits a drop off, that's
yeah.
a no-go.
I'm gonna throw a little fun fact in here. Did you know like Mexico is full of these underground tunnels that are full of water?
I feel like I did know that.
Yeah, and like they're legitimately, most of them are connected throughout the whole Mexico itself.
And people like to go in those.
I went in one. What are you talking about?
We went in one, yeah.
Why?
So people get stuck with their scuba gear on in those holes. That's scary to me.
Oh,
I'm
we
not trying to
didn't
drown.
dive down into it.
Yeah, no. It was just a tour thing, and there was tons and tons of people there, but it was very, very scary.
The one scary thing, right? Most of the time, the ceiling is like a foot above your head the whole time. So some places you almost have to go underwater, which we did have to do. And two, beforehand, they just ask if you can swim. So,
What if you say no?
well, they give you like a real life vest, like for jet skis and stuff like that. But if you can swim, they give you one that you can inflate yourself in case of an emergency.
Ooh.
And we did not know that until
Like you pull a string, or you have to blow into
you
it.
have to blow into the thing.
There is no air in the bottom of the ocean.
But the whole thing was you had to tread in this cave, and there's like maybe two spots you can like touch the bottom, and they're very small. And so most of the time you had to tread water with this giant abyss below you.
But it was pretty cool, though, because we were in a cave, so all the stalactites and mites were very, very, very cool.
All right.
Yeah, no bueno. But speaking
Anyway.
There's no segue
Spooky. Hold on, I was trying.
there. Okay. All right.
Speaking of spooky things, this is the next movie that we watched today was Halloween Kills, which came out on the 16th. So spoiler warning, massive spoiler warning.
This is going to be full of spoilers
Yes.
about the new Halloween Kills movie.
So if you haven't seen it, don't listen, or if you aren't going to see it, well, I guess go ahead and listen.
If you're going to see it, listen anyway.
Yeah, true.
But
Okay,
just
so if you left, good. If you're still here, it's not our problem. You're good. But basically, the nightmare continues as Michael Myers escapes the fiery trap set by Laurie and the Strode girls at the end of the last movie, and he just kind of continues his bloodbath. And unfortunately, Laurie and the Strode girls are taken to the hospital, and this is where we find Laurie's old friends, and they decide to get in this mob mentality as they attempt attempts to hunt Michael down.
Right. So it starts off as it ended in the 2018 one where the house is on fire.
See, I had to go back and watch it again because I thought that was the very first scene too. But the very first thing that happens is the D-bag BF finds Hawkins.
Oh, right.
Just like slumped on the road. And I was like, oh man, I don't want to see Hawkins dead again. No, Hawkins is alive. Oh my God.
He got stabbed in the neck.
He got ran over.
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
I think because I went back and I watched the first one again, and it's they run over his legs. So his legs are broken and he got stabbed in the neck, but he's still alive. Okay.
I just want to add a point. I think it's because he used a scalpel, right? Because since he was a doctor and it's a special knife.
It was a very long knife.
It was.
It would have gone in and through a couple of things.
It depends on which way. What is he? I don't remember exactly the angle he stabbed him. Was it
on the
down
side.
or is
It
it
was on the
straight
side.
in?
It was through the side of
And
his
also,
neck.
he's not a trained killer. He was probably a bad killer, so he
Yeah.
didn't know what he was doing.
But he does know what's in there. He's a
Well,
doctor.
but now he's dead. Oh, it's all good.
Yeah, it's fine. We saw him go out in the last one, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So he finds him, and then they get the cops and everything, and then Hawkins says repeatedly, "It has to die. It has to die." And the kid
no
Cameron's
idea
like,
what's
"What?" Cameron's like, "What are you talking about? Who has to die?" And then it cuts back to. It's the very beginning, but it's probably my favorite part in the entire movie. It cuts back to Halloween night in 1978, and it's immediately after, Michael falls off. This is back to the very first one.
Yeah.
Falls off the balcony and disappears, and cops are after him. And is it Tommy or is it Lonnie?
It's Lonnie.
The kid who runs into
Lonnie's
Michael.
the kid who runs into
Yeah.
Michael. Yeah.
But what's funny is, this isn't funny, but Lonnie's getting bullied by some other kids, and this cop rolls up, and he's like, go back inside. And the kids are like, why? What's going on? Someone just murdered 3 other people down the street, and I was like, oh my God, did you told that to 3 kids?
He's just spilling all the secrets to these children.
Yeah.
So they're running away, and then
Lonnie trips.
Lonnie
Lonnie
trips.
trips and falls, and behind him you see Michael
Just not a care in the world, just rolling down the street.
walking down the street, and Lonnie pisses himself.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He is so scared. He cowers in fear, and he's just like, please stop, please don't.
And I guess Michael's not to that point yet where he kills kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Or maybe the cops showed up, and then this is where we run into Hawkins. This is like, they say he's like a rookie, so maybe this is like his day one on the job.
It was first day on the job.
And
he was holding the gun wrong.
we find out very quickly that the Haddonfield police don't know how to handle these types of situations.
I mean, who would?
Right.
So,
It's a mass
it's a
supernatural
serial killer.
A mass supernatural murder.
Yeah.
Somehow I don't know.
There has to be some like day of training that they're just like, all right, now listen, you could come across a crazy person and they might do some really crazy stuff. Just be prepared. I feel like that should be in their preparation.
So they go to the Myers house, and the attention to detail is pretty crazy cool. Like the dog is still there when he got hungry. Then the light that, like, I don't know if it was the gutter or something, it like crashed into the window and like broke the window in the first one, and that's there.
It was the gutter. Yeah.
So like the attention to detail 40 some years later I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, because fans kind of like us, but very, very like fans who just look at everything, they'll notice that and it immediately get critiqued about that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you can't come at like a third movie in a franchise and mess up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got one question for you, Devin. When you
So-
watched it back, was the glass broken in the exact same pattern?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
You need to look at that, you know?
I just saw the glass was broken and I was like, oh, okay, there's an attempt.
Right.
And then so they're scanning around the house, and the cops almost shoot each other because they check the same hallway at the same time, and they almost shoot each other. So I think this is kind of another little point out that these guys are not in their element,
freaking out, dude. They don't know
and
what to do.
the older cop goes up to the window, the exact window where Michael killed his sister, the very first kill. And he says something like, "Nothing ever happens in Haddonfield," and then boom, Michael out of nowhere just
shoots out of the closet right next to the window and attacks the older cop.
I think it was like the sound audio. Shout out to John Carpenter again, because the sound and the music in this movie is once again
wasn't that like the biggest jump scare? That scared me.
That was
really, really good.
I mean,
Definitely.
dude, he comes out of nowhere, and the cop, like, you can hear the thuds, like the cop's trying to punch Mike, and the cop's a strong dude, but it does absolutely nothing.
It doesn't matter if you're strong in this movie. Yeah. Michael is stronger than you.
Well, Michael was 20 years old at this point.
Yeah.
So he's
prime Michael.
Right.
I want to say one
6
thing.
bullets.
I do have one critique about this scene.
What's that?
Michael is running in this scene.
He did.
He came sprinting out of that closet or whatever that room was.
Well, it's
He
more of a
doesn't
lunge.
run.
It's more of a lunge. I don't really think
know.
he sprinted at him.
Well,
Those
no, it
legs
wasn't a
are moving
full-on
fast.
sprint.
And also, I mean, horror villains don't usually drive either, and Michael's driving all over the place.
Yeah. Well, then Michael starts like choking the guy out.
Yeah.
And then the rookie cop,
Hawkins.
Thank you. Hawkins comes into the room with his gun drawn, and he's like, "Michael, put him down." Well, what are you gonna do?
Michael's like, nah.
Michael's holding this guy in front of himself.
In a chokehold.
Yeah, in a chokehold. So Hawkins has no other choice but to try to shoot Michael at this point, and he misses. He shoots the other cop right in the throat.
Right in the throat. And then Michael just like, "Oh, okay, you did my job for me." He drops him and leaves.
And then Hawkins misses every shot after that.
Yeah.
Horrible shots.
The worst shot.
Which
Very, very bad.
I imagine that like he's so like discombobulated, like he just shot his friend, and he's like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, just starts shooting everything.
And then so Michael goes out, and this is probably one of the biggest. Not only because Michael looks incredibly good, it's the old suit and the old mask looks amazing. And it's shot like an 80s movie. Like it has that kind of grainy feel to it. Yeah. So it's just like you're back in 1978.
Well, plus when he walks out, he's surrounded by the rest of the cops.
Yeah.
Everybody,
and Michael, he just kind of
completely surrounded.
Which it looks exactly like the very first night he killed his sister, and he's standing out there.
Michael.
And yeah, that's probably the biggest reason I love this opening scene so much, is because this guy, all practical effects, runs in and he looks exactly like Dr. Loomis, and and he's like, he doesn't say a whole lot. He just asks Hawkins, "Did he kill again?"
No CGI was used. That was pretty cool to hear.
It was all makeup, which was very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he asks Hawkins, "Did Michael kill? Did he kill?" Well, sort of. Almost.
And so Hawkins told us about this event in the first one, how he took Michael into custody that night instead of just, killing him. And we get to see it. We get to see how it all goes down. So as Loomis is about to, kill Michael, or at least attempt to.
He had the gun aimed at his head. He was going to take him out.
Hawkins,
jumps in the way and pushes the gun
up, and it fires in the air, and they just put Michael into custody and take him to jail.
Don't move him.
But
why would you move him from one place to another?
Yeah, that's true.
That still doesn't make any sense.
Just put him in the maximum security the first time. But we don't actually see Hawkins do that until later when older Hawkins, flashes forward. He's in the hospital and he's telling Lori.
He's having the heart-to-heart,
Yeah, closer to the end, he was like, Lori's like, "It's my fault. I should have killed him, blah, blah, blah." And Hawkins is like, "No, I could have ended him a long time ago." And then it flashes back to him doing that.
This movie does jump around a lot.
It does.
But I think it's needed.
Definitely.
Because it kind of pushes the story along.
It also fits the
It
tone,
only gives
I think.
only
It's
gives
chaos.
you what you need at the time.
It's a little bit of chaotic, so I think it makes sense.
I don't know if this is a big point or not, but in that flashback when he's talking to the other cop when they're still looking for Michael, he mentions he went to school with Michael and he hung out and played with Michael as kids.
They
And
did.
his mom forced him to go play with Michael just to be a normal kid.
But he was always, but he mentioned he was always so weird.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
That
then,
tracks. That tracks.
Then it flashes forward,
And we find
see Tommy.
Lonnie and
Yeah.
I can't remember the nurse's
Lonnie,
name,
Tommy.
but it was the nurse with Loomis in the first one.
I can't remember it either.
And then the little girl that Lori was
and
babysitting.
Lori wasn't babysitting her. Lori's friend was.
Yeah,
Lori
yeah.
was babysitting Tommy.
Right. And then they all just hang out
Yeah.
towards the end of that movie. But they're all,
They're all drinking.
getting wasted at a bar.
Marion. Yep.
And it shows us kind of a cool scene because in the first one, I knew there was a complaint in that movie where it's like, would Lori actually be, some people found it hard to believe that Lori would have such, I guess, PTSD from that event. And it's like, why did it mess her up so specifically? But we find out in this one, it didn't mess up just Lori. It messed up everybody that was affected on that night.
The movie just showed Lori. Everybody had PTSD from that same night. And, but it shows all those guys in the bar drinking, and Tommy goes up onto the stage and starts talking about his experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's a talent show. And this dude walks up there and goes, "Let me tell you guys about Halloween night."
I think Tommy is, because like they said, nothing ever happens in Haddonfield. It's a boring place. So I think Tommy's kind of got this deal where he's like, he thinks he's kind of a local legend. Like, everybody kind of knows the Michael Myers story.
Yeah.
So they know Michael is this urban legend, sort of. And Tommy's like, yeah, I was a part of that, guys. Remember, I was a part of that.
Hey guys, look, I'm here too, yeah.
So I think we kind of see his arc sort of develop as the movie goes on, where he tries to rekindle some of that fame.
Yeah.
Then
He tells the story.
I think he tells a story
And then
about Lori, and then boom.
They see on the news.
That comes a little bit later.
What? All right, go.
The next thing that happens is it cuts to the girls in the back of the truck, the Strode ladies.
Yeah.
And Lori's in a bad way.
She's stabbed.
She got stabbed in the stomach.
Yeah. But as you know, Michael don't mess around. So he was trying to end her, dude. Yeah. And so they go to the hospital, which is kind of like the first sequel. Lori ends up in the hospital. I don't know if that was a callback. It's possible, but they meet these firefighters that are going there, and I'm like, I was frustrated, but I understand why firefighters can't let this house, burn the surrounding area, and because it's a forest around, because that would go on for miles.
I do want to mention one thing. So I have actually witnessed my neighbor's house burn down.
Yeah,
and it gets to one point, right, where the house is basically not savable anymore.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where it'll eventually have to be demolished because of so much damage. At that point, they just let it burn.
Mm-hmm.
I want to mention this house is completely engulfed in flames.
Oh, yeah.
There's not like one inch. She made a good job of making sure this house went up in flames.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, she could have put a couple boilers and throughout the house just to
I'm
make it explode,
saying They would not have saved the house in real life at all.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they were going there to save the house.
They weren't trying to save
I think
it.
they were going there so it wouldn't spread to the
But then
surrounding
they went
area.
inside.
But because
Because they're looking for people. They have to look for
firefighters
people.
have to look for people.
Well,
And they found somebody.
They don't go in if they know there's flammables and stuff like that inside.
yeah. So the firefighters get to the house, the Strode house, and a couple of them go inside, and they've got beepers on them. I didn't know firefighters had this.
Yeah, that was
it
kinda
makes
cool.
sense. They have emergency beepers,
In case.
if one of them falls or gets hurt, and they can't keep going, they'll hit a beeper, and the other firefighters will get a notice
And
that somebody's down and needs help.
I was honestly thinking as this happened, I was like, oh, great, this is how Michael gets loose. But honestly, every event that takes place right here, it all kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
The firefighters show up because they have to stop it from the surrounding area. One of them falls through the floor because obviously it's on fire. The structural integrity of the house is
Right.
gone.
Yeah.
It's
collapsing.
well, yeah. So one of them, they walk in, and one of them falls through the floor, and then he's down in that basement where Michael was stuck,
And this is the
and there's nobody around.
right. And this is the next scare that I really like, because it's all set up from the first movie, which I really do
Michael
enjoy.
disappeared from the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and it shows us exactly where he went. It's that the shutters
Where the guns
where
were.
the guns are, and it flies up, and Michael just like stomps. I was like, oh, dude, what
Yeah.
if that's your last thing? Is you see this shutter fly up, and you see Michael like scarred and
Just
burnt,
coming right at you.
stomping towards you, and then he grabs I don't know what the tool is, but it's like forcible entry for fire. It's
Like
like
a
Yeah.
pry bar.
yeah,
Yeah. It was a firefighter pry bar.
bam, we get our first kill of the movie.
Bashes it through the guy's head.
Yeah, brutal.
People were upset with the
firefighters.
firefighters dying.
And
Yeah,
I wrote
but-
here, Michael kills with no, like, he doesn't.
There is no discrimination
Yeah.
between his kills.
He kills it. We'll
He kills
later find out.
cops. He kills firefighters. He kills children. He doesn't kill babies.
Doesn't
Not
kill
babies.
I want
babies.
to put that out there. He doesn't kill
Women, men.
babies.
Yeah, it doesn't
Well,
matter.
so we'll get to
Dogs.
later of how inclusive Michael is when
Yeah.
he goes back home.
Right.
I want to add a little thing in here for Riley's thing about the little emergency thing. He was talking about how like the little things for emergencies when they
Yeah, they're beepers.
don't actually in real life they don't even have to hit a button. If they stand like still for like 30 seconds, that thing immediately goes off, no matter what. And you have to start moving before it shuts off. So if you aren't moving at all, that's how they know. So like you say you go unconscious for some
Oh
reason,
yeah,
and you can't hit that button or your arm's pinned, it goes off for you.
nice.
Yeah.
But so one of the firefighters reaches down to grab him.
He reaches down to grab his friend.
He'll grab his friend, and then Michael's hand reaches up, and that he gets out.
Yeah.
How does he get out though? Because like it's not. Yeah, dude's big. There's no
I'm
way he's
thinking-
gonna pull.
Okay, so he pulls the guy in. Like you see Michael's face appear in the hole.
Yeah.
And he grabs that guy's arm and pulls him down. I'm thinking he used him as like a step ladder. He used these two dead bodies as step ladders up the stairs.
He definitely could have, but also Michael is not human. Like he is, but he's really not.
It's.
And
I think it's
So you think
entirely.
he could have pulled
You
himself
think he
up.
flew like a bat?
No.
I think it's entirely
There's a
possible.
chance, you know?
I think it's
think-
entirely possible. He could jump. He jumped,
Oh, I thought you said it's entirely possible he did turn into a bat.
or he just, he grabbed whatever the floor and he just lifted himself up.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty built.
He's
to
strong.
be able to do the stuff that he's been doing, he's got to be pretty built.
What were you thinking, Emma?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that he pulled himself up. That I thought.
Yeah.
Quick old pull up.
Just a quick old. Yeah. And then we get probably the coolest scene in the movie where Michael steps out with like that pry bar thing.
One of the coolest moments.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a couple of them where he's surrounded by people and he
Oh
just
yeah.
destroys.
So he steps out. There's fire. The house is engulfed behind him, and he steps out with this, and he's just
with the crowbar.
and you can tell he's like, all right, I'm pissed. Who wants it next? And the firefighters are like, I think one of them says, what the hell is that?
The way that they show it is so cool. There's water running off of the front of the house that is engulfed in flames. So there's fire behind him. Water's falling in front of him like he's in like a shower or like in the rain. And then he steps off the porch.
Yeah, literal goosebumps. And then I like how the firefighters in a split second go from trying to save people to like, no, we got to
They're
kill
like,
this guy.
they get their axes ready and
They start
their
like
saws.
they start the saws, and they don't stand a chance, dude.
Oh, because everybody knows, everybody in Haddonfield knows who Michael Myers is, and everybody knows what he looks like or what mask he wears. So at this moment, all these firefighters are just looking at him like, holy cow, first of all, you got out. Second of all, you're alive. Third of all, we're all going to die. That's, 1,
2, 3, got to get this guy.
yeah,
going.
so he goes down the porch and he just starts
He's completely
offing
surrounded by firefighters.
Oh,
all of
yeah.
the firefighters.
I think that
yeah.
they didn't do it right. I feel like they could have gotten a couple actual shots in,
Oh yeah.
and they just didn't.
Actual shots of what?
Like they could have hit him. Like because
Yeah.
if he's facing one person, you hit the other person.
Right.
You
The
hit
other
from the
person
side.
comes and hits him.
That's just
And also, they're
makes
not
sense.
fighters either, though.
right.
That's
They're
true.
firefighters.
Yeah.
They fight
Um,
fires, not people.
But
Yeah.
by far the coolest kill is when the guy comes at him with the saw, and Michael just flips it, like turns it like 360, and then just goes back into the guy's face.
Yeah, that's the thing about this movie is he kills a lot more people than he has in the past movies, and more gruesome ways
Well-
for sure. Like the axe going, or the
I think he's pissed.
chainsaw
I
going
saw
through.
I saw a list of how many kills each like killer in every movie has.
Yeah.
I said
I
that
think they
too.
were trying to. I think they were trying to get him up the list.
I think so, but yeah,
What number was he?
He was
111
second. He was second.
next
Who-
to Jason.
Jason. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Jason's been
111
around
kills.
longer.
Yeah. I think they're trying to get his numbers up though. I really feel like it.
Well, Michael Myers, he's like a scary guy, and he kills everybody. But in the first movie, like the very, very first movie, he kills like 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Like
Yeah.
not that many. And it's
And
all at the end.
I think it one maybe like in movie, like you could maybe argue that he's just getting started.
Yeah.
And then but in real life it was the 70s, and they weren't too huge on like gore yet in horror movies.
Right. Well, now they are.
Now they are.
So, yeah, he cut the firefighter's face in half
Oh yeah.
with his own saw,
kills the rest of them with axes and continues to move
and then
on.
leaves their
Yeah.
bodies.
And then he just
as he does.
He
you
just
know?
goes on his merry way.
Y'all forgot to mention a fire hose too.
Oh yeah. As he walks out, they shoot him with the fire hose, and that thing is got to be like, I don't know.
It's
Very,
a lot
very
of, it's a lot
strong.
of pressure.
Well, I mean, I don't want to like bring this up, but as we saw like segregation back then, they would shoot people with the fire hoses, and it was
people are
horrible.
people are falling over.
Yeah, it was absolutely horrible. And Michael just
Takes
eats
it.
it up,
Takes
and
it.
he
All
just
the way
walks
up to the
towards
guy.
it. Yeah, all the way up to it.
The usual working pressure of a fire hose can vary between 8 and 20 bars, which is 800 to 2,000 kPa or 116 to 290 psi.
That's a
Sounds
lot.
strong. That sounds strong.
And this is like
All those numbers sound a lot.
and this is like a barrel of like 6 inches wide
Yeah.
of water just hitting you.
Jeezy Pete.
So I don't know.
But yeah,
Anyway, so he just
Kills
kind
all of
of he
them.
carries on his merry way. Like he goes on to the next house, and as we follow Michael, like as he goes on to the next house and the next house, it gets super tense. Like I was afraid that they were going to do some jump scares, which I think there is one, like when he's in the old people home,
yeah.
where he smashes the
Yeah.
which it was a good scare. Like he turns on the light in the bathroom, and Michael's like, no, he like smashes the light.
It's like stupid electricity.
Which,
Yeah,
and those
so-
are good kills, and we get, which is also kind of
Can
cool.
we talk about that scene, the old
Which
people's house?
They're funny.
They were funny.
They were funny.
Because it had the little
Drone.
The little drone.
black boy from the second
Oh
one.
yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, he killed my nanny," and it was a really good callback.
Again, side character in this movie, like they give you just enough.
Phenomenal.
They give you just enough to like, oh, I don't want to see them die. But you
Yeah.
know they are because they're side characters.
So there was an old couple
Mhm.
we get introduced to, and I think they're next door neighbors to the Strouds.
Yeah, they are.
So
Right,
they're like,
because
oh,
they
it's
see the fire trucks going,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, that crazy.
the husband. Well, the husband goes, "Dang, it smells like smoke. Are you smoking again?" And the wife goes, "No, it's a Stroud's house. It's on fire." And he's like, "Well," and then she gets out like this little drone, and she's like doing flips with it.
She just starts.
She's
playing
doing
with this
sick
drone.
flips with it too. I don't know how she's doing it.
But he was like,
Then she breaks it.
She
Well-
flies it into a different room.
no. He said, "Let me try this," and
Oh,
he
that's
flies it into the bathroom or this entryway room,
Yeah.
where it's really dark, and it crashes, obviously.
Yeah.
But then they don't go up to it. It like flies back at them.
It gets thrown at them.
Yeah.
And they go, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
And so the old man, like, super tense, dude. There's like, I can't remember. There wasn't a whole lot of sound, like a whole lot of music. They kind of just let the scene
Build.
build itself. So he slowly goes over to the light and he flicks the light on, and then you just see Michael, and he just smashes the
He
light
bashes it with the back of his hand.
because he just, I guess he likes, he likes to be in darkness. Fair enough.
He was contemplating. You know?
He's thinking his next move. Let him.
Dude was burnt
And then
got his fingers shot off the same night.
Then the guy closes the bathroom door, locks that door, and then he locks another door.
And then there's a big guy in our bathroom.
And then he walks by this window, and Michael just punches through this window and grabs him and just like smacks his head
in.
And it's gruesome.
And then he pulls him through the window, doesn't he?
Pulls him through the window and finishes it in there. And the lady grabs a knife, but
she doesn't go anywhere. She just stopped at the door. And as he walks closer, and
then she sees him, and then she just kind of crumbles. Which, fair enough.
Yeah.
But he kind of teases her.
He stabs her in the throat.
Stabs her in the throat with the light.
With her own. Oh, yeah.
He goes back.
He grabs another light and he smashes it on the table, and then he's like, in her throat.
You were talking about sound earlier, Devin.
When it goes in her throat.
The crunch, dude.
Yeah. No, there's that, but you can hear this hollow tube glass being filled with blood. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Oh, yeah.
That was bad.
It was bad.
But then he moves the old man.
And we get to see how. Yeah,
table.
That's cool.
Yeah, he moves the old man over the table.
Makes a human porcupine.
We get
out
to
of
sort
knives and body.
We get to see how because we've always known that Michael decorates his kills. We've never actually seen
witnessed it. Yeah.
And we don't know why. Still don't know why. But I don't know if "cool" is the right word to say when you see him decorating his kills. But I think
he made a human porcupine.
I think it fleshes out Michael's character without telling us too much. Because I like him, like I say, I like when the killer is shrouded in mystery, but this gives us a little info without telling us too much.
I have an idea. I don't know if you say it, like reason why he was doing that. I feel like he was testing the knife he wanted to use. He kept grabbing different knives, grabbed a different knife, stab. And I don't know if he used that last knife or he's just kind of sizing up the different knives.
And did he take one out?
He never took one out. He just
grabbed another
kept
one.
him in. Yeah.
Oh, he just grabbed another one.
Yeah, he just kept him in there.
I'm assuming they just kept getting larger, so I feel like he was testing them. That's my idea.
Okay, but here's the thing: is the lady was
You
still
went through the okay.
This lady was still alive, and she was like bleeding out in her neck, and she's watching him do it. So he moves it over to where she can see it, and he just stabs him multiple times. She's still alive. He walks over, finishes her.
What I thought was he moved him onto a cutting board, and then he stabbed through him into the cutting board underneath. Because I heard like a.
I thought it was a counter.
I'm gonna go with what Emma said. I think he wanted, because we later see him do a similar thing with Cameron and Allison, where I think he really likes, obviously he likes tormenting people. So I think he wanted to do it in front of. He wanted to do that in front of the wife. He wanted to do that to her husband in front of the wife.
Makes sense.
So then
I almost laughed in the middle of the movie when he did that.
when he
made it, I keep using this word because that's all I can think of. He made a human porcupine out of knives and body.
Yeah, you're not wrong. So then we go back to the hospital. And unfortunately, mob mentality takes hold pretty soon.
Okay, so let's go back to the bar.
The bar.
Because there was...
Oh, right.
On the TV, it said 2 people got out of this bus crash. That haven't been picked up.
Yeah, we almost see Michael, dude. Almost.
Yeah. So it's Michael and this other guy.
Mm-hmm.
This poor other guy. Nobody knows what Michael looks like because he always had the mask on. So they assume that both of them are Michael. They're just like...
Well, they both see the face. They both in the news report, everybody sees both of their faces, so they know what Michael looks like.
I don't think they showed his face. I missed it. I don't know.
They do, but the camera blurs it out, so we can't see it.
But what I'm thinking is, why wouldn't they put the names? Because because it sets up something way later. But there's in the bar, there's this couple, this black couple, and one's a doctor, one's a nurse, but they're dressed up as opposites. Mm. So the girl's a doctor, but she's dressed up like a nurse, and the guy's a nurse who's dressed up like a doctor. They start talking to Tommy and his friend, or that group of the old cast members, and they're like, "Oh, well, have a good night, guys." And they go out to their car, and one of the escaped convicts is in their car. And they think this is an escaped guy. this is Michael. He's in our car. He's going to kill us.
And what's kind of cool is we don't know who it is either.
We don't know we don't know who it is. And then they get out of the car and they run back inside and they go, he's in our car right now. Oh my gosh, help us.
Tommy's like, all right, it's time to go. He grabs the bat.
He grabs the bat from behind the bar and he's like, all right, Michael's done for now. And, this poor guy.
He walks towards the car and he's like, Michael, come out. Like, it's your time, blah, blah, blah. And this dude just drives off in the car and
one of these escaped convicts drives off. They're not convicts. I guess they're escaped mental institute.
I mean, they're kind of. I think they're both. I think they're convicts
because we don't know what he did.
Horrible.
What did he do?
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
But he crashes immediately.
He can't drive.
He doesn't know how to drive a car.
Block away.
He drives into a giant electrical fence, and then he jumps out of the car and starts running.
Yeah. So they're able to catch him. They're able to. Well, they don't see him, but they're able to.
Right. They start following where he was.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of makes sense that the base or the hideout for the rest of the movie happens at the hospital because we obviously can't do it at Lori's house anymore.
Right.
Or anywhere. Nobody can go anywhere because it is not safe.
Why did Tommy go to the hospital? Because he heard that she was at the hospital?
Yeah, I think that's why he got there.
And tons and tons of people are there. I mean, the
whole town. I think the whole town.
Most of the town is there.
Because Michael's killing everybody.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a reason that the whole town should go to the hospital.
Well, it's because, so first off,
there was lots of people who were hurt.
The movie before, right? He walked down the street just killing everybody, house to house to house to house. And then after like the word starts getting out that Michael's back, he's one that's got out. People started missing. Like the one lady was looking for her son because she hadn't seen him all night, so she assumed that he was going to be.
She finds him.
Yeah, so people are showing up at the hospital because they are dying from Michael, and so that's how most of the people get there is they're finding the person.
They're looking for their loved ones that they can't find.
Right, and also the sheriff and most of the police department is there as well. So I feel like a lot of people have kind of a sense of protection when they're there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tommy shows up, and at this point, Lori has no idea what's happening. She's out. She has Michael.
She thinks she got him. Is she still asleep? Yeah. Or is she waking up?
She's woken up. She's
waking up.
Oh, and she's
no, she's actually asleep because her granddaughter goes with Tommy, and then she wakes up.
And also, real quick, you guys know the old kind of fat cop who was sitting in the hospital?
Yeah.
That's Officer Brackett. He was in the first movie as well.
Is he the one helping out?
No, that his daughter died in the first movie. That was
the babysitter.
The pot smoker.
Yes.
Gotcha.
That was his daughter.
Okay.
And so he's also affected because Michael took his daughter.
Which one? The one that died in the red car or the one that died in the bedroom?
She was the one that died in the red car.
Yeah.
Red car. Okay.
So they're all at the hospital.
And then and then authority goes out the window very quickly when Tommy starts to yell, "Evil dies tonight."
Yes.
Which I don't think it's that much of a stretch. A mob chanting 3 words. Yeah. I think it's a very clear art imitating life. Because we're not too long ago. We had a bunch of protests and riots. And I don't think it's that far of a stretch either, because like in the first one, you could relate it to the Me Too movement, where it's these 3 girls trying to tell people that this awful thing happened, and at first nobody believes them until it happens to them too.
Right. Yeah. So everybody's and at this point too, nobody has seen Michael. Nobody knows what he looks like. So basically, anybody that's crazy, anybody that looks crazy, and it's in a medical
white uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they just assume. And so this guy who is mentally unstable, who also escaped, he ends up at the hospital.
Into the hospital.
Right.
Because he
needs help.
Hurt in that car crash.
So he's like, I need help. And some people are like, oh my gosh, it's Michael, chase after him. And this poor guy is just being chased after by hundreds of people. And
in the hospital.
And Lori's daughter, what's her name again? Karen, yes. She's like, it's not him. She's trying to tell. I mean, it is just
at first.
Well, she doesn't. At
first,
know.
Lori, Karen, and Tommy are like, "Let's get him," and then they actually see him, and they're like, "Oh shoot, that's not him."
But
Lori sees him.
Yeah.
Tommy still doesn't know what he looks like, because he was so young that he doesn't even remember.
He just saw the mask.
Yeah. Well, Lori had seen what he actually looks like now. He's older and he's tall and not
right.
That's the thing
fat guy.
That's the thing is he's tall. These people are all idiots because this dude is short,
I wrote.
Well,
stubby.
if you don't
That's-
know what Michael looks like, and you saw there are 2 escaped convicts,
You
and
see,
they have the pictures.
People do know what Michael looks like because he's a famous story, and people have definitely looked it up. Plus, they saw it on the news report, and it doesn't look like that guy. So people know what he looks like.
And he's
But even
tall.
then, right? It's mob mentality.
Right. That's
Two,
yeah.
They haven't physically met Michael ever. They don't really know how big he is, how strong he is, what his mentality is like, how he acts around people. And so they don't know that part of him. Plus, they think this guy's probably just as dangerous if they did realize it wasn't
Who
Michael.
cares if it's not Michael? It's another dangerous guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you're right, though. With this mob mentality, everybody's not thinking clearly. So they're just like, guy that looks remotely, even a little bit like him, let's get him.
Yeah. So then Karen notices that it's not Michael at all, and she
And
keeps yelling.
it's a sweet moment
It's
when Karen
not Michael.
when
Please
Karen
stop. It's
when
not
Karen
him.
tries to
Yeah, she tries to help.
she tries.
But she traps him. That's the thing, is she completely traps him, and
She
he's
thought that'd be the
mentally
best.
well, that's the thing, I know, but he's mentally unstable. There's no way
Yeah.
he's gonna be okay.
So she gets him into a corridor, and she locks both sides.
but then
and
the people come up
Then
marching.
people come up on both sides of the doors and start bashing in the doors.
They get like
They wanna kill
fire
him.
extinguishers and they start breaking these
Yeah.
windows.
And then the crazy guy gets a fire extinguisher himself, and then he breaks the window behind him and jumps to his
he
death.
jumps to his
yeah,
and then finally people figure. Sorry.
and that blood is all on their hands.
yeah, it definitely is. Go ahead.
I was saying the reason why she did lock him in there, one, she was trying to protect him, but
Yeah, if they got
Second-
him, he would be dead immediately.
Oh yeah,
By people bashing his own brains. in.
secondly, he was running out of floors, right? He was running up
Right.
the stairs. So there's nowhere else really to go. And two, she was hoping she could try to control the mob and say, it's not him, yet no one listened to him.
But yeah, they figure out obviously shortly after when he commits suicide that it's not Michael. And I don't know if you want to play this now or later, but Lori at this point knows that Michael is loose. She's like, we need to.
She's waking up. Tommy runs in because he's like, I'm gonna go hunt him down.
Yeah.
and then Laura's like, "What?
What do you mean?
What?
He's
What?
dead. I got him. He's gone. And then they're like,
But
and
yeah,
they break the news
figures
to
it
her.
out.
He's not dead.
And then
Hawkins is next to her in the same room.
Yeah.
and then
So-
it does a kind of a cool cut where they break the news to Lori that Michael's still out there, and then it cuts to Lonnie, Cameron, and Allison who are hunting Michael. But then the first couple of friends, it's what was the nurse's name?
But like the girl who dressed up as a nurse.
Oh, the actual nurse, the one
That
from
was
the
with
original. Dr.
Loomis.
Oh,
It's
I can go ahead
her.
and check that.
And then the other, the black couple. It's her, and then the little girl. There was a little girl. They're out looking for Michael, and it goes about as well as you expect. They find him.
Yes. Well, they go to the kids on the
kids on the swing
sets.
set.
They're like, yeah, some old guy's playing hide and seek.
And they're
with us.
riding a sugar rush. Like they've eaten like half that bag of candy, and they do not care about anything that's going on.
Well, before that, I guess we get introduced to the Strode's house now, because they
I kind of
stole
love that.
the
I
candy
kind of
from
love.
that
I
house.
kind of love that it's two gay guys in the Myers house.
Yeah.
Big John and Little John.
Big John and Little John.
So funny.
Yeah.
Played by two great actors, and they absolutely killed the part.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
I mean, you can just see they're upstairs, not in Michael's room or the famous room, but in the other one, and they're listening to music, listening to records, just kind of vibing on a Halloween night as one would. Apparently, they haven't watched the news yet because they don't know that he is
Yeah,
loose.
they're just chilling out.
They do know who Michael is, though. They
yeah,
know
they
the
absolutely
story.
do. They
Well,
do.
they're using it against people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you say, the
They're
kids
like, "Do you know where I live? This is the Myers house. You stay away."
and they scare the crap out of these kids, and they run up. And then he grabs the pitchfork, and he's like, "If you guys ever come back, I'll use this pitchfork." And it sets up Chekhov's pitchfork,
Right.
which Chekhov's gun is like a term in movies where if it's this item is mentioned, it's going to be used later.
But shortly after, Michael breaks into his own house.
Well,
He's like,
with
"What
a
are you
bloody
guys doing?"
hand.
Oh, right.
Let's talk about the car scene.
right.
The car scene happened before that.
The park.
Yeah.
And-
So the same kids who stole the candy from this gay couple who live in the Stroud or the
They got
the
so
Myers
much candy.
house, they got so much. They're like, yeah, our friend, he went over to use the restroom or something like that.
And he hasn't come back.
And he hasn't come back yet. That's not good.
And
But yeah,
we know,
like, so this
and
old
then
guy's over there playing hide and seek with us in a creepy mask.
she looks over, boom, there he is. And he's holding the kid's mask,
Which is
bloody.
dripping.
And we're like, oh, yeah, Michael kills kids.
Yeah. So these two kids run off scared as hell.
Yeah.
And then it's
Then
left
she runs.
to...
What does she do? No, he starts attacking the car with the other people that are in it. And then she starts getting this pillowcase
full of bricks.
Yeah, so she takes their bag that was full of candy, dumps it out of the ground.
Wastes all the candy.
It's a bunch of candy. Gone forever.
Aaron Hernandez.
Oh.
And then and then Michael starts. He leaps up onto the car.
Yeah, he
in the first one.
basically in the first. It's
And
a callback to the first.
Terrorizes
60,
this,
right?
In this, yeah, he's like 60 some, but
The exact same like position of hand and everything.
Which
he
I think-
bashes the window.
I think this is starting to tell us that age don't matter. Like it doesn't matter how old he is. And then he does the exact same thing to the poor nurse again. He like smacks the window. He grabs her hair.
But this time she has a gun and she starts shooting.
She shoots at like all the windows. And he like at one point she accidentally aims it at like the
couple.
And he's like, what are you doing? Put that thing away.
Yeah, so
And then
everybody was given weapons.
Yeah.
At the hospital, everybody was given weapons. And the guy who's dressed as a doctor, who's actually a nurse,
Right.
is given a gun.
Right. Before they go out on these hunting parties, Lonnie gives everybody weapons,
Right.
And he says like, are all these registered? And he's like, some of them.
Yeah.
Well,
So I
okay.
think it just adds to the madness. Like, you guys this is not good. This is not going to go well.
These are people who have never used a gun before, are supposed to be shooting guns.
Yeah.
So the nurse dressed as a doctor, so the guy of the couple, he has the gun and he's like, I don't know how to even shoot this thing.
Yeah.
And the girl goes, give it to me. She takes it and is like getting ready to shoot it. But
At this point, Michael gets in the car and stabs like the
Marion's gone.
Yeah, Marion's.
The
Which I was
guy's
surprised
gone.
that like they're killing the old guard, man. They're taking them all out, and then the guy tries to choke out Michael, and I'm like, wait, no, bruh, okay.
Yeah, there's
he
no way
uses
he
his
was doing that.
stethoscope to try to choke him out.
And then I love how Michael like he
just-
turns his head. He's like, really?
Yeah, he just turns his head while he's being choked. Kills him.
The gun that the guy has, he gives to his wife because
Yes.
he doesn't know how to use it. It's like no regular pistol. It's
It's
giant
like a Desert
eagle.
Eagle.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a huge handgun.
But
And then we get a slapstick kill.
the funniest kill. Everybody in the theater was dying laughing.
I was kind of upset because it's like a horror movie. I'm not supposed to be laughing.
It
at
wasn't.
this.
It's not funny, obviously, that she
It's
died.
extremely
I think
funny.
it's funny.
But the way that she died is hilarious.
So I think in horror movies there can be humor as long as
I
it
think
doesn't.
there should be.
As long as
there
it
should be.
as long as it doesn't hurt like the main villain and make you think he's any less scary, he or she's any less
Right.
scary. Michael did that in a way. Like he kicked open the door and it hit her and the pistol spun around and shot her in the like Michael did the kill. He was gonna kill her anyway. So
Yeah.
as long as he did it
So
still,
she ended. Okay, so let's talk about what actually happened. She ended up shooting herself in the face.
she's like pointing
She's
it.
pointing the pistol at Michael who's
kicks-
in the car.
He like kicks open the
He
door.
kicks the car door open, and the gun spins, and she shoots it. Sorry, I hit the mic. She spins the gun, and it shoots herself in the face.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
It's so funny.
It
And
was
then
just an awful way for her to die.
Then one of the girls gets away. And then
She's hiding
Tommy
behind the trees.
Tommy finds her later. And then
Well, Big John, Little John.
Big John, Little John.
Michael comes into their house. You see the bloody handprint on their door. They're thinking it's little kids. Obviously, it's not. They go upstairs because
They see the three
three.
bloody
Three
hand.
fingers.
and they're like, "Yeah, we're not alone in this house." So they shut the door and they
They
try
both
to
grab
come up
tiny
with,
knives.
like itty bitty knives.
Well, Big John grabs a little knife, and Little John grabs a big knife, which is fun.
yeah, and
They
go
go and
upstairs
start
trying to
looking.
find him.
They start clearing room by room.
And they find him.
Oh yeah.
Well, Michael finds
Right,
little
right.
John first, I think. No, it was Big John first,
Big John, but
and then Little
Yeah.
John comes in, sees Michael.
kinda
Obviously,
funny,
Michael
'cause
offs them.
Little John was shorter than Big John.
Yeah.
And this all takes place in his
Or-
sister's old
In his house.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Big John was shorter than Little John.
And then somehow, like at some point, it goes back to the hospital, and then the chaos of the mob. Lori's wound is reopened,
Yeah.
so
She has to get
she's
sat
taken
back
out of the
down.
fight for this movie, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we said, the inmate looks nothing like Michael. So the mob kills the wrong guy. And then this idea of looking into the window and seeing the reflection of yourself comes up. And it's
Like, what was he looking at when he
What
looked
is he-
through
yeah.
the window? Was he looking
and
out
it-
at the city, or was he looking in on his own self?
and I have an idea, but it comes up a little bit later. But Lori actually has a little bit of a speech, if we want to show that now from the trailer. She has a little bit of a speech about Michael himself as he kills.
Yeah.
All right.
Hunt him down. Michael Myers is flesh and blood. But a man couldn't have survived that fire. The more he kills, the more he transcends. Run! Go now! He's the essence of evil.
So that was from the trailer
Mm-hmm.
for this movie.
And I think it's obvious that as these movies have gone on that Michael is not a regular man, because even in the first one he got shots like 6 times, and he fell off a balcony and he was fine. And this last movie he got his fingers shot off. He was stabbed multiple times. He got shot in the shoulder,
Burned.
and he was fine.
Yeah.
In this movie, he's also fine by the end of it.
Which is insane because these people are like, we all need weapons because your bare hands are not going to kill him. Shortly find out weapons aren't going to kill him either.
Yeah.
Which moves us to that almost last scene with everybody, right?
Yeah, he gets
Everybody's
ganged
in
up
the
on.
in the neighborhood.
Well, hey, hold on.
Okay, never mind.
What are we?
Cameron, Lonnie, and Allison go to the Myers house.
Oh, yeah.
And they find Lil John and Big John.
It was a cute death.
And Michael stacked them up against together, and he put the radio on.
Well, there was a picture right behind him of the exact
Um,
same position.
Yeah.
So he did it like they were. It was
Lonnie
pretty sad.
gets compacted and shoved into the attic door.
Lonnie goes in first by
Yeah.
himself and gets completely murked.
Owned. Then Cameron and Allison go in. Cameron finds finds his dad, unfortunately, and then Michael busts out of the closet and beats the crap
Pushes-
out of Cameron,
yeah.
and then he pushes Allison down the stairs, and you see it in gruesome detail of her leg breaking. Then Cameron just gets the crap beat out of him, like he was already he was dead basically, and he's just like groaning on the steps. Comeuppance maybe for this is why you don't cheat on Allison.
I don't know. Don't cheat on a shroud. Stroud.
Yeah. And as he's walking down the stairs, Allison's like crying, "Please don't do it. Please don't do it." And Michael's like, "He's already dead, but you know what? I'm going to snap his neck all the
I
way
feel
around."
like he put him out of his misery
Yeah.
because he was still alive.
Yeah.
He could not move any part of his body, and he was dying. So I think he kind of ended his suffering.
Oh, yeah.
But then
And then as Allison's about to get killed, Mama Karen shows up and stabs him in the back with a pitchfork. And I think the actor for Michael does an incredible job where he you can see in his face, he's like, "Oh, damn, that hurt." And then she grabs the mask, runs away into a trap.
yeah,
And this mercenary group of townsfolk is right there to take Michael on. And he looks around, he's like, "All right, put the mask on." That guitar riff shows up, and they beat the crap out of Michael.
Hammers, rakes,
Guns.
Irons.
Some lady
Someone
has an iron.
for an ironing board.
But yeah, they're just beating him to pieces.
And then they stop.
And-
And I was mad. I was so mad. Just keep going.
Well, because they didn't like full on beat him to death. They all hit him like once or twice. That's all. They just brought him to the ground, And then we were all like, oh my gosh.
And then I think
Michael's
Karen
dead.
low-key goes to the dark side a little bit, where she grabs the knife, and instead of going with her daughter, she grabs the knife and
Stabs him in the back.
Michael. And like this revenge-fueled rage.
Yes.
What we never talked about was in the Shroud house, or in the Myers house, she stomped on his neck. He was on the stairs, and she stomped on his neck in the stairs.
Right.
That should have broken his neck.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And didn't she like slowly stomp on something, or maybe that was him? Maybe he was slowly stomping on something. But
I don't know. But
Yeah.
okay, so back to the gang up scene.
And
he's down, and
then
it
it
cuts.
cuts back to Lori, and she's talking about you can't beat
Can't
this
kill
thing
him.
with brute force.
And that was the clip that we played.
Yeah.
Right. And then as Lori's talking with Hawkins about stuff like that, it's cutting back to where Michael just gets up and
He
kills.
pulls the knife out of his
everybody.
own back and
Yeah.
then kills everyone.
It was insane.
Officer, I think his name is Dorkins. He goes down. Tommy goes down. So like all the old guard,
Everybody dies.
All the old guard except for I think it's Lori at this point.
Well, did the girl
The
die?
little girl, the
Yeah,
one that.
I don't
Oh,
think the
right.
little
She's
girl-
still good. Yeah.
I don't, yeah.
So
And-
it's two people left, and then for some reason
There's
Karen
Hawkins.
goes.
Hawkins is still alive.
Karen goes into,
All right. Karen goes into the room
into the Myers room.
where
she looks
Michael
out the
killed his
window.
sister for the first time. And my theory about this staring out the window, I guess this is where Michael started his killing. This is where the evil began.
I feel like she was starting to like understand him,
Yeah.
and so
He goes back to the house. He started killing. This is where evil began. And also Karen low-key going to the dark side, like I said.
yeah.
And who meets her at the dark side? Michael.
She takes one big, huge breath. She's like, oh my gosh, he's finally dead. He's done. Takes a big breath, pauses. Michael kills her. Movie ends.
He
That's
almost
crazy.
it's like he teleports behind her.
Yeah.
Somehow.
I don't know how.
How
got
did he get
past
in
everybody.
the house?
But I mean,
that had
everybody's
to have
dead.
Well,
No, all the
everybody was
people in
out
the
front of the house.
There's EMS, there's police.
Oh,
She went
right. You're right.
Inside, her daughter is out on the front stoop, and her mom
Sneaked in through the back.
is dead
But
upstairs.
how did he get up the stairs?
I don't know.
See, that's the part of me. I feel like that wasn't real.
That's
right?
what I thought.
Because if you think she's going to the dark side, Devin, that could be in her head.
It's possible.
But we don't.
There's
we
no
won't know.
way, but he literally killed everybody.
I think
He's
that
still
I
alive.
think the deal where showing her lifeless body on the ground, kind of
Yeah.
like she's dead. Like
I didn't like
Yeah.
that death. I really wish Karen wouldn't have died. I really hope.
I think that's what other people were upset about as well, but they didn't want to like spoil it, so they're like,
Right.
"Oh yeah, the firefighters."
Yeah.
No, but that was amazing.
But Lori says, she's like, I will, like, if he's cutting off my head, I'm cutting off his at the same time.
Yeah.
So I feel like the next movie, they probably will both die at the same time at some point.
and this window scene again fleshes out Michael's character of kind of a little bit as to why without telling us really why he kills. And this also in this movie, it's flat out spiritual. Michael is the essence of everything that is scary.
yeah,
Anything you can think
Evil.
of that is scary,
gets powered
evil.
by
He gets
people's
power, fear, scare. And I also think what's cool about this movie is you don't understand Michael, you fear Michael. That's it. That's as simple as it is.
right.
So
But-
what would you rate this
Yeah,
movie?
overall, a great movie.
We can keep going. It's fine.
All right.
Once again, it closes on like Michael and Lori sort of looking at each other. Like it's the scenes are cutting and then it ends on Michael's breathing once again in this
Yeah.
movie.
I mean, his breathing throughout all of the movies has just been so important to like just the audio of the movies.
Oh yeah, 100%. And overall it's fine. It's solid editing with transitions between because the characters are doing a lot. There's a lot of different groups of characters in this movie, and the editing is very solid. It's cool to see old faces with Sheriff Brackett, Lonnie, the original kid who tried to sneak into the Myers house, who Dr. Looms yelled at. Brisk fan service, which is always appreciated. The flashback in the very beginning was perfect. Best part of the movie, hands down.
Yeah, I really think it it really connected the two movies,
Yeah.
or like the first two movies for me.
Oh yeah, 100%. Overall, it's solid, and fear is taken to a new height, I think, because he struck fear into the entire town, not just a couple people, just a couple babysitters in the house. The next one, I think it sets up perfect motivation for Allison and Lori, because Allison lost her mom, her dad, and her friend. Lori lost her daughter, so it's on in the next movie. Like, a new idea, which I think is cool with Michael, is Michael doesn't go after Lori, which is stated.
Yeah, so everybody's like, "Oh, he's coming to the hospital because
Dr.
he's
Dr.
after her."
Sartain brought Michael to Lori.
Yeah.
So he just kills everyone. No one is safe.
He kills Dr. Sartain too.
Oh,
so-
yeah. Critiques, though, the titles are super dumb. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, Halloween Kills. I don't
Halloween,
understand.
really? The sequel to Halloween is called Halloween?
Halloween.
2018.
Halloween.
2018 Halloween.
28. Yeah,
But
you
it's
have
a
to
remake.
specify.
But it's a remake.
I would have
and it's
called it like Halloween Returns or something like
Something.
that. Like, because Michael's returning after 40 years or something. And
Or
like this
Halloween 40 years old.
one, Halloween
Plus 40.
420.
I like how it's minimalized though. Like Halloween is Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Halloween Kills, and the next one is called Halloween Ends.
And
so
then I think this one
obviously-
should have been, since there's so much carnage, call it like Halloween Decimation or something like that, because there's kills everywhere.
Halloween Ends, I guarantee, is going to end at
I
midnight.
feel like this.
It'll be like, oh, he's no longer powerful. It's not Halloween anymore.
I feel like this one was named appropriately because he does kill. He kills a lot of people.
I did like the
He
name of
kills
this. I think it was just
Everybody
fine.
from all the old movies.
But I feel like you said, the one before this one could have been better.
Yeah.
It's like
Naming wise, I think the movie was pretty good.
Oh, yeah, naming wise, it's
yeah,
lame.
naming wise.
Lori's out of the fight for the movie, which is, it sucks because I'm here to watch Lori fight Michael.
Yeah.
A lot of people mentioned that Lori doesn't fight Michael.
I hope
And
that she can
it
fight
feels
him
like
next,
it
next
feels
time.
like a
She
second.
will.
It feels like a second part movie in a three part series. Like it never really kicks into third gear. It's just kind of a buffer between the first one and the third one.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of
adds some important details.
yeah.
Though. So
there's a lot of cool ideas, and it's kind of a mixed bag. But all in all, I'd probably have to do. I mean, it's very solid with the pros that we stated, but the critiques, I think, unfortunately, knock it down to like a 6 out of 10 for me.
I really like this movie. I didn't like the ending. I really didn't like how he killed Karen, but
well, she's a Karen. So
she's a Karen. I also didn't like how he didn't fight Lori. I didn't like. There were parts of these I didn't like. So I think.
So is there anything that you did like?
The movie was fantastic. I mean, there were just parts that I wish wouldn't have happened. I wish all of the firefighters were still alive. I wish Michael would have burned in the house, obviously. But the way it was executed, I think it was very, very good. I'd probably rate it an 8 out of 10.
All right.
I would rate it between 7 and 8 because I feel like it was a really good movie. It was dragging, and I don't know. I did like the movie, but like you guys, I feel like there should have been something else. But I do like all the backstories, Hawkins' backstory, connecting everything from the first movie to the one before this one. So somewhere in there, 7, 8. I'm going with fine, right in the middle, 7.5.
All right. Well, I thought it was really good. I like a little bit of gore. This one had a lot of gore. There was
Too much.
Yeah, when they
A little
show
bit too much, yeah.
legs breaking, that's really an issue for me. I do not like to see that, like even in just every movie.
And I think that's just a symptom of the horror movies that
Yeah.
we have nowadays. There has to be gore, all gore.
It's not as much jump scares, it's more gory. And for that it really cuts down, but I still think it's got to be like a 7 or a 6. So I'll go like a 6.5.
nice.
but it was pretty good.
Yeah, very solid.
All right, so if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or even stories, like maybe you are a cop and you have had some crazy people come across, we'd love to hear those stories too. Tell us
pretty cool.
anything. Yeah, go ahead and email us at silverscreenpod@gmail.com, silverscreenpod. Any stories, anything you'd like to tell us. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you.